trying to get my.
Mine says recording. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hold on, I'm not
I'm
ready.
Jason with the Great One, Ted. Welcome to No Show Prep, the only show where we lie to you with the title. Of course, we show prep. We just spent the last hour talking about unicorn blood, which, by the way, heals you of any injury you may have. Everyone knows that. Again, my name should be right here. Oh yeah. I just talked about a second ago. A lot of people know I'm quick on the trigger.
Click on the trigger.
Especially when it comes to Dr. Pepper. So yeah, we've been chatting about unicorns. You're welcome, Lexi. So to get the show off first, I want to tell Ted that the whole world knows about their own perceptions or views on the pandemic that we're hoping when you watch this video doesn't exist anymore. COVID-19.
Actually, we hope you watch our video as soon as it releases. So
yeah, absolutely. We're just hoping it's still showing when COVID-19.
So, man, nobody, you can't discount the amount of people that have passed because of COVID.
Yeah,
it's been a terrible loss.
Tragic.
Unfortunately, more than are even numbered in some countries.
Yes.
And we're definitely not trying to make light of other deaths or what we've all suffered through. Obviously, suffering stuck in the house with all my kids and my wife endlessly for a year is nothing compared to loss. And we haven't experienced that. I know people who have passed, but it hasn't been like close to home.
And I'm in a country without my family because of COVID. So we're definitely experienced the negatives to this. We're just trying to find a silver lining to an extremely dark, disgusting cloud. And if you can think of something positive that you hope comes from this.
So I think what we were headed towards is
right here in these comments. And of course, we're going to respond right back. Hit that subscribe button, like the video. We need this. Most of this we can keep giving you great videos like today.
World-class performances.
World-class. World-class. Go ahead, Ted. What are we talking about? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Trying to find the positive changes, positive that's come out of COVID. If it could be said that way.
Right.
Innovations, changes to our way of life.
Is a friend of the show. You've probably seen the comments. Him and his wife have worked nonstop from home since March. And their production, I know them both. I'm sure their production is way up. They're probably making it worth their employer to stay home from home. I mean, people used to have to come in and enjoy the stinky odor from their neighbor or listen to the terrible gossip around the water cooler. And now we're doing it from home. We're sitting home. Ted's getting to hang out with his family, whining and screaming and telling him, hey, eat this food, Dad, the whole time he's trying to work. John gets to listen to hang out with his wife all day. I mean, it's probably great for their relationships, probably build another 25 years of marriage.
It is pretty great when my coworker, my 3-year-old granddaughter comes in and checks on me about every 2 hours, are you okay, Papa?
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that 26-year-old sitting right next to me on this, sharing this window with me, and having a grandchild? I mean, he doesn't look a day over 21, but believe it or not, he really is a grandfather. That's right. I mean, stunning. So,
well, when you start young,
so Ted, besides maybe the changes in virtual reality, Zoom meetings and that kind of thing, is there anything else you can think of that we might have improved upon?
I have had one of the healthiest years of my life, which is great because last December into the first 2 weeks of January, I just had like the worst cold, no fever, but I had the worst cold. It was horrible. I took every pill they had at the store. I seen every doctor. It was awful. But since then, I have traditionally in my adult life, I have had to go to see the doctor about every quarter just to get another shot of steroids. But this year, hasn't happened. I've been to the doctor maybe maybe a year ago, like last February, maybe, but no sneezing. I'm not like normal. I have allergies horribly. I normally get an allergy shot, but but normally I just get sick every couple of months. And it hadn't happened this year. And I'm sure that's because the places that I do go are cleaning much, much more than they ever used to, cleaning countertops and doors. And personally myself, I use sanitizer, keep it in the truck, spray down the gas pump before I touch it, and keep my steering wheel clean with sanitizing wipes, Clorox wipes. And
so I've had the ability to go to church since I got to this island. Yep. And one of the things the pastor thought about, chaplain, he's not a pastor, this is a man of all faiths. everything from Hindu to Catholicism. He's a great speaker in all faiths and walks of life. But one of the things he puts on there is a big, supersized thing of Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
And he had this cool idea. He has really funny sayings like God created the earth in 7 days, but this pew he didn't create for you, because obviously we've got to keep space in between people. So he rotates the pews you can't sit in every Sunday. So when you stand up and church is over, you pull out that Clorox wipe to wipe down the where you sat at. We're cleaning every pew every 2 Sundays.
Oh, that's cool.
And he also cleans them. Him and his staff clean the pews every single Sunday.
Sure.
But he made the comment about how much nicer it is that now when we wipe down the pew, the cloth is absolutely clean.
Clean. Yeah.
Because we're cleaning them all the time.
Yeah, I can see that. I got all those years of funk off of there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost become part of the tradition, you know. He said the best part is now when he walks down the aisle after church, he beats the people out the door. I mean, we're too busy cleaning. So that's been funny. That was a joke that didn't take very well. But he told it. It's probably a lot funnier when he says it than when I say it. But anyways, you were telling me that there's a type of metal that actually that kills viruses on contact.
So for years, all doorknobs and faucet handles were made out of brass, because brass naturally kills germs. It's just like part of the what it's made of. It doesn't not like zap, you know, like when you touch it, it doesn't like instantly kill it. But after a few, I don't know how long it takes reaction. I'm not a science teacher, but there is a reaction with germs and brass, and it kills the germs instantly. And knowing this, our world has just continued to make pull handles at busy stores, grocery stores. A lot of doors you go to the grocery store open up automatically, but they don't all open automatically. But most of those are made out of aluminum, and aluminum doesn't do that. It has to be cleaned. Like every other surface has to be cleaned. The brass one too. If you have an establishment that has a lot of traffic, you still got to clean the brass one too. But I'm just surprised that it's moved away, and hopefully that we move towards products that are more germ resistant. So, man, coming soon on our channel, book reviews. You got to stay, like paying attention and hit like and subscribe, because book reviews coming your way. It seems that you and I, we listen to a lot of books. We don't actually read the books like turning pages, but do a lot of listening.
So how do you know when you have a good book on Audible? Like, what's something you're looking for?
Well, I like the no nonsense. I'm not really a romance guy. I care about backstory and the story, but I'm not into the mushy stuff. I've been known to like hit fast forward. So, but I'm wanting like engaging, good plot, keeps my interest. Lots of parts. I like when things are revealed later on about something from an earlier book, or part of the same book, but was kind of like the author actually was thinking about it before it happened, what he was going to do in the future, or left it open.
I like it when something that appears to be germane, just a regular germane thing to one part, turns out much later on that it was foreshadowing, and I didn't even know it. I also like it when the author's kind enough to not let the protagonist know what I know.
And so you use 3 words. I don't even know what they mean. I kind of know what protagonist means, but I have learned a lot of words from listening to books.
So I think we both like sort of the same kind of thing. You also have a wider scope of books that you enjoy, or I'm pretty much so our dear friend John, who's a friend of the show, he says that I only like Batman, like not just the character, but that hero. Super rich, super good looking, very successful with women, and happens to win every fight. That's my idea of a good character.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, so you like the poor guy who lives under the troll bridge to be the hero? I'm confused. But so Ted, tell me what books we're going to start out with. What's the first book we're going to hit?
Well, the first book is going to be Stormfront by Jim Butcher. It's the first of the Dresden Files.
Okay.
Dresden.
Wasn't that a TV show once, like on Sci-Fi or something?
Only because of my internet searches have I found that I've never seen the TV show. I would like to have, but when I hit a research about the cast, I don't like the person who was cast as Harry Dresden. He's definitely Not the
Not
person I
Harry
picture.
Dresden.
Because Harry Dresden's like 6'6", man. He's a tall, wiry,
Yeah.
thin kind of guy. And he's a wizard, you know. He's gonna look wizardly. Whatever that
Right.
means. I'm not even sure.
Long white beard. Does he throw it over his shoulder when he's about to get in action?
He could be like Gandalf the Grey or White or whoever Gandalf is, Gandalf the Grey. Yeah, he could be
That's what I was
wizardly, you
shooting
know.
for.
Pointy
So
hat. But I don't think Harry Dresden has a pointy hat though. He's more like the, you know, almost Tomb Raider, but maybe a little floppier leather kind of.
So for some backstory, if you're not a Harry Dresden, you don't know Dresden. Dresden takes place in a small town in Illinois. Maybe you've heard of it, Chicago. And he is the world's only actively practicing wizard. He's actually in the phone book. You can call him if you need his help. So Dresden has his own set of fun and troubles, and the author Jim Butcher makes him as close to a normal human being as possible. I mean, from everything from having late rent to forgetting to have Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, he does struggle with normal things, which is good. But anyways, in our book review, watch out for our book review. It's coming up soon.
Yes.
Will be spoilers. This is not a spoiler-free book.
It is definitely going to have spoilers. We're not going to tell the ending. We're not going to say how this ends, but we're going to have things that might come back and like, I wish you left that for me to find on my own. Sorry about that. If you have a book series you love and you want us to hit it, or just a single book, and get it more popular so your friends can talk about it, we will definitely review it. We set a limit though. We're not doing anything that has to do with like dime store novels. No romance novels.
What about the Lost World, man? We really like the Lost World. That's a dinosaur novel.
Wrong kind of dime store.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so no Treasure Island, huh? Which I did like, by the way. That was a really good book. Listening to it, I wasn't as much of a fan reading it, but listening was great. Which I think comes more in the book reviews, but I really think the reader, whoever you're listening to, reading the book they make the book.
They make the book.
They make the book.
Yeah.
They're just like an actor. Yeah.
Scott Brick is the best reader of all time.
Of all of them.
He's actually in the Hall of Fame because he's a boss.
He's the man.
So anyway.
So Scott Brick, if you'd like to meet us, we would love to meet you, Scott.
Yeah, hey Scott, man, like I will buy the beer, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, get something else on that.
Yeah, Scott Brick's amazing. If you want to review a book, let us know. If not, we've got probably 80 books we're about to start knocking out, hopefully once a week, depending on our ability to read that fast or listen that fast. But yeah, it's coming soon. We're going to have a March Madness video. We promised to have two things: basketball and weird other stuff that happens in March. We tried the Super Bowl. Turns out I was wrong. Ted was right, but it wasn't a game. I told you that. It wasn't a game.
It was not a game.
Oh, and if you want to tell us that Tom Brady should come back, I think he should retire, even though I want to watch him lose repeatedly, which he doesn't want to do. Feel free. Ted's a big Brady fan, except for he likes Peyton Manning better.
I'm just glad Brady won without Belichick, man. That's all I wanted. That's done now. It's in the past. I was sick of. I mean, I know in my heart now that it's Belichick is who I've really been hating all my adult life. It wasn't Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that Tom Brady's not an odd kind of guy that I'm not sure I'd get along with, because he might be, but I don't know.
I definitely like Belichick less.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I learned.
The fact that him and the coach for Alabama are best friends and talk a couple times a week doesn't make it any better.
Matrix 4.
1, 2, 3. I don't know how they have a Matrix 4. I thought they were all dead. I thought everybody, I mean, like the third movie, pretty well, like the giant drilling thing came through the roof and fell in, and all those octopus robot things are flying around, and we kill them all. I mean, they killed them all. But we killed. I mean, I was over the gun, and they set off the big EMP or whatever they did, and
right. But I thought that woke up all the humans. I don't remember.
I mean, everything that was inside there is dead, So, I mean, whatever's on the surface is alive.
I'm just want to say that, if you were in this movie and you're one of the batteries, I guess is the best way to point it, and you're laying there and they've got tubes all over your whole body, and you just woke up, wouldn't you be pissed? Put me back in, freak show. One, because when you're a battery, you've got restrooms to start with.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're like living in constant dream world, wouldn't you? I mean, surely they're just all having dreams. That's because they're in the matrix whenever they're attached to the device, you know.
Right.
When they're
But when you
babies,
wake up, there's not enough. I'm overthinking it. Go ahead. Matrix 4. Here we go.
yeah. I don't think we're that big of nerds, really, to be like dissecting the.
No.
I
No.
actually just had some horrible thoughts about what was going on there, and I wish I'd had.
Yeah.
So Matrix 4. I have no idea where the story's going to go. It pretty well ended, I thought. It looks like Lawrence Fishburne's not in it. He's not in the cast list. But surprisingly, Neil Patrick Harris is in the cast list. Not really sure.
I just imagined like How I Met Your Mother meets Matrix.
Right. That's pretty much the character I always think of Neil Patrick. Or except for Doogie Howser, you know, but that was so far ago. He's, you know, so long.
Yeah. He's grown past it.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. 30 years of growing or so.
Yeah. So speaking of great new movies coming out, I'm not sure you've been paying attention, but a new Mortal Kombat is coming out in like a month. April 14th, I think. And it's coming to IMAX first, and then it'll be on HBO Plus, I think.
I don't normally go to IMAX movies, but I think I would want to see. I don't know, man.
So I see so if you haven't seen the trailer, you got to check it out. But at one point in the trailer, Sub-Zero does this, and then pulls his hand. As he pulls his hand out, an ice sword appears, and then he attacks I forgot his name. Guy that has the snake come out of his hand.
Yeah, Scorpion.
Scorpion. And I'm ready, bro. Like I am.
I haven't watched the trailer. I hate to admit, my week has been so busy. I haven't had the 4.5 minutes yet to watch the trailer. I'll watch it today.
Right.
I didn't. So I was driving around today at stoplights, and I was trying to do a little research, you know, what I could, but I didn't realize that the second movie was considered a flop.
That's my favorite one.
I don't know my favorite, but I mean, I thought it was. I mean, when you think of Mortal Kombat, you kind of know what you're getting into. It's kind of like watching a Bruce Lee movie. It's not going to win a Grammy, you know what I'm saying? But you know what you're getting into when you watch it. But I thought it was just as equally good as the first one.
I kind of hope that as soon as I said Mortal Kombat, everybody heard the Mortal Kombat and just knew, like, you're getting into a video game where you get to watch a video game.
Right. I'm kind of worried about the gruesomeness, though. You know, we tried playing a Mortal Kombat a couple years ago at Christmas time. We bought that was like a year old, and man, we had to turn it off, you know, because the finishing moves, you just get you can only see a spine ripped out so many times, you know, and laying there quivering. I'm just saying, ugh.
So the good news is, if you rip someone's spine out, they can't quit. That's the first part. The second part is that I'm pretty sure this is going to be rated R for gore.
Yeah,
because it's Mortal Kombat.
Sure,
but everything looked. So from what I saw from the trailer, they had taken all the tech that we have improved upon, and this is when the Mortal Kombat movies should have come out, because it looks fantastic. Like, I thought the first two looked good,
right?
But you know, like, we never really saw Liu Kang use his fireball because it was too much technology to really. No,
that stuff's expensive. You know, even now, you know, those effects are. You got to hire the right guy.
Yeah. Well, from what I saw, they hired him and his best friend.
Right.
Like, it's gonna. Now the storyline's probably gonna be trash, as you said. It's a Mortal Kombat movie. We already know, right? Like,
I just want to watch the fights. I really don't. It doesn't have to have a story. It could just be like next, you know, scene 2.
Exactly. Right. I mean, in the end, a bunch of guys are gonna do some karate. Someone's gonna get their butt kicked. It's like
it don't even have to have a script. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't have no dialogue. It's just next.
Right. Yeah, I want the two sides to pop up. Yeah, exactly. Player 1, player 2, fight. Yeah, let's go. Here we are.
I am man. It does not take much to entertain me.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, man, I think right now, if somebody asks you what's your favorite movie, and I'm not trying to get an answer right now. If somebody asks you what's your favorite movie, like, man, I don't know. You know, I've got so many that I like, and somebody asked me this a couple of weeks ago. I think it's the latest. The latest has been released anyway. The latest Mission Impossible because of the fight scene between the guy that plays Superman and Tom Cruise. It's absolutely epic, man. It's taken years to perfect how to choreograph a fight scene to make it actually look like a fight. And I'm talking about they beat the fool out of each other. And
Let's
that
see
guy that
here.
plays Superman, whatever his name is, I can never remember his name. He's a man. This dude is like, he is 6'8", 6'9", you know.
So I don't think it's fair to say what's your favorite movie, because obviously your favorite comedy and your favorite action movie, they don't compare.
My favorite movie would change all the time. You know, it couldn't stay.
Yeah.
And I've heard some weak answers, you know. So the guy that asked me, he was like, Lord of the Rings. Come on, man. Don't bring that, you know. Like that was
Again,
an
different
epic
genre.
storytelling. I hope they don't try to remake in the next 20 years because it was just so
Right.
fantastically
Different
done.
genre. If it can be your favorite fantasy movie, but your favorite, like for me, like I think Die Hard is everyone's favorite Die Hard. But Die Hard is your favorite Christmas movie. Like that's just given. I don't even want to hear about Santa. He's there somewhere.
If I had to actually have a favorite, I mean, it would probably be something you wouldn't. Well, I don't know if you know me, you might suspect it, but you probably wouldn't call it out if I didn't preempt it by. It's probably The Right Stuff. I have probably watched the movie The Right Stuff, the original, the older one, made in the 70s or late 80s, early 80s.
Yeah.
I have probably watched it more times than any other movie in my collection, but I wouldn't show it to friends because I know nobody else likes it. You know?
Right. So I think probably my favorite comedy is Mr. Deeds. Movie is just hilarious.
Yeah, hadn't seen that.
You haven't seen it? So Adam Sandler is like an overall like super really nice dude, lives in a tiny little bitty town like in Indiana or something, knows everybody in town, and he's a pizza delivery guy who like helps everybody in the town. And his whole goal is to someday get a greeting card picked by Hallmark.
Okay.
And one day, Shifty Eyes, his partner shows up to tell him that his great great grandfather left him like $100 bazillion. And he was like, well, that's cool, man. I got deliveries to do. Like, money doesn't faze him because his happiness is right here. Yep. And it's basically a comedy about just think like what was the show made in the 70s where they discover oil on their land and they go to California?
The Beverly Hillbillies?
Yes, think Beverly Hillbillies, Adam Sandler, and rom-com are slammed together, and you've got this movie. At one point, he like tries to slide down the banister and doesn't realize the little ball at the bottom, and he wooden ball meets human balls, and yeah, it's hilarious. It's just so many funny moments in the movie.
Yeah, I get to watch that.
But you're not gonna watch this movie and think like, oh my goodness, Jason, the storyline it's epic. Wow, we should win an Oscar. But you're gonna laugh the whole way through. If you're having a bad day, you pop it on 5 minutes later. You're still having a bad day, but you're laughing butt off. But again, that doesn't compare
still having
to
a bad day. This movie will not improve your day. Disclaimer, full disclaimer.
Right. But it will make you laugh.
But you will laugh.
But no, you're right. Like, but you can't compare that to like I don't know, Mission Impossible or Black Hawk Down. No, these are
yeah, it's just an unfair question. I mean, I really wasn't even trying to delve into it because it's not a fair question.
Right.
But the fight scene in the latest Mission Impossible is unbelievable.
And I think that we should probably do a show on best fight scenes ever on cinema. Like, that's probably would be a really fun show.
I didn't know. I just had to look it up because I was trying to. I'm not today, but when I was answering the question, I had to look it up. I was trying to find the guy's name that plays Superman because I can never remember his name. And the girl villain in the latest Superman, I clicked on her to see what else she's in because she's fantastic, and she's in that new. I forget now. Maybe HBO, the new series called The Crown. I'm going to have to watch The Crown now because I love this lady's acting, man. She's awesome. Yeah. She's conniving. You know, you can just see it. She just sees like, you know, you're not going to get one over on her. And I imagine that carries over in her character. I don't know, man. Maybe.
I was watching Seinfeld the other day, and he's in the cab, you know, and he goes to scratch his nose and looks over, and it's the girl he's been dating.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, it wasn't in the nose.
It wasn't in my nose."
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty hilarious.
So
so much pressure
I do have
on there.
I do have a question for you though. What are you saying? What are we saying?
What are we talking about?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
You said you had a question.
I do. So bands, music group, artist, musicians, artist, band, whatever it is, that has actually changed or became a lifestyle, has like impacted society so much it became a lifestyle. Can you any of them come to mind? Any bands that you may have ever listened to or musicians that have changed the way we live, impacted our lives in amazing, never forgettable sort of
Blink
ways.
182 taught me that prank calls are a good thing.
Hey, I like that. I don't think there's been any
No.
in my life anyway. At least not in my. I don't know. Maybe there have, but I've tried to think of one. Although Metallica has done something last week that no other band has ever done. They had 8 songs again in the top 10 selling of albums, or 8 albums in the top 10 or top
This year.
25. 8 in the top 25. I said about had 8 albums in the top 25 selling. It's like a nostalgia thing. Lots of have re-released their albums on vinyl records, and there's been, I guess, a big push because people are sitting around their house and they want to play something on that record player and they don't even know why they bought it anymore. And most of Metallica's albums were released in a big bunch of other bands also this month, and so they had 8 albums in the top 25 sales for the week, which is never done before. Like it happened twice. Like all their albums were number one, or all their albums were in the top 25 when they originally sold, and now they were on the top 25 a second time.
So I know that my biggest complaint of MTV is they don't play music.
Who?
MTV. They don't play music.
Wow.
So if you're in Portugal, they have a channel in English, that's a big deal, that just plays music videos.
Yeah.
All the time. So a lot of the time when we're doing work that's at home, I know it's called homework if you're in school. For us, it's just called work because we're grown-ups.
It's called work.
We my friend and I, we pull our laptops out, we sit at this table, we listen to music videos, and we work on work we didn't finish at our work area. Sorry, Paige, it's gonna happen a lot with this. So one day we're sitting there and Metallica comes in and they finish the second verse. They don't start the chorus yet. They play the guitar for 27 and a half minutes of just riffing. And I have always hated it because I've always listened to it on the radio or in my headphones working out. I've never
Gotcha.
watched it.
Right.
So I'm watching this music video and old boy has been singing his guts out, just tearing it up. And he looks over the guitarist and he points and he starts. And old boy grabs a big bottle of water and he's just chugging.
Water break.
And like he chugs one, tosses it to the side, and you got to look because the camera's focused on the guitarist.
Sure.
But I just this water bottle fly across the screen, and then he zooms aside and you see the singer, and he's just chugging the second bottle of water as fast as he can chug it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was live. This is the reason they had to do the riff.
Sure.
They had to do the riff because old boy's lungs were about to fall out of his throat. Like this is
Yeah.
all they had left.
Yeah.
And
That's something. If you go to a concert, you pick up on that they built in stunts, where they can take a break, especially like the drummers too, because it's not always just the singer, man. But if you watch, I mean, I've been to Metallica concerts, maybe 3 times now. I know twice for sure, maybe 3 times. I've seen them in the Pyramid, and I've seen them at Alltel with Paige, your wife, and I think I've seen them at the Coliseum too. But I'm not 100% sure about that. So at least twice. But the guy that plays the drums, man, I mean, he, all the 70s and 80s hair bands, man, the drummers are they're just wear out. I mean, they're physical. It's the whole time. And the contrast I've seen him in, he come out and it looked like he's dressed in his boxer shorts. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not even wearing clothes because he's fixing to work. Yeah, it's like going to the gym, man. He's fixing to work. Both feet, both arms.
Yeah.
The bass guitar and the drummer they're the keys to the whole. You don't even have a band. You don't have a live band. You have a bass guitar and a drummer, man. They do all the work. Everybody's always like focusing on the electric guitar for the guitar solo, but
yeah, they don't realize it. He's taking it for time. Everybody else gets their breath back.
I can't even blow snow off the car without my arms hurting for 2 days. I can't imagine playing at a concert, at all. So
Right.
I asked this question though about bands that change the lifestyle because something happened this week. The America's band, who they've been called many times, the Beach Boys, the remaining members, whoever those
Yeah.
are, the Beach Boys sold their copyright. They sold their IP. They sold everything, the whole thing, the right to be called that, the music, everything. They sold it to a buyer this week. Their motivations, I don't know. I can only guess it's because they're not young anymore. They're very, very old. But the buyer, I'm actually excited, kind of excited about this. I'm not, the Beach Boys were before I was born. It gets played on the radio. I know maybe their top 7 songs, maybe. I can't sing along with them, but
Right.
I've heard them. But their music is as close to timeless music as maybe you could have. It gets played
Yeah.
still in elevators, maybe it may not be played at bar mitzvahs, but it's still
Right.
played. So this guy says, look, I didn't just want to buy this because I wanted to make a lot of money with music. He said, I can do that all the time. I bought this because the Beach Boys never capitalized. They never took advantage of the fact that they didn't just present music to the world. They presented a lifestyle, and that lifestyle has never been tapped into. And I can't wait to exploit it. And I was like, wow, we could be in the, maybe it's not going to be tomorrow because first they got to like de-age the music. And then he says he's going to remaster it and then re-release it to whatever, however you do that, because nobody buys CDs anymore. Maybe it'll be just a vinyl. I don't know. Re-release the music and start selling it again. But also, he's planning to sell the lifestyle.
It
People
is
that
funny you
don't,
said that because the Beach Boys captured a generation in the 70s.
they
This
do,
idea
but us landlubbers that live in the central United States, before you ever traveled like you get to now, when you finally arrived at the beach in Pensacola, were you not looking around for the lightweight
was
button-up shirts and the guys and the girls wearing like the beach clothes, not the G strings that I seen when I got there, but
not to steal a line from a book we haven't hit yet, but old boy says, I can't wait to get to California and get me one of those blondes on roller skates. It's
yeah,
because the Beach Boys sold a lifestyle that doesn't exist, where if you go to the beach, all that's there are skinny-year-old volleyball players in short shorts and bikini tops, even when it's December. That is the lifestyle. Everybody's surfing USA.
I'll take you up one more, and I just thought of this. It just hit me. I had not thought about this until right this moment. This lifestyle is so ingrained in us as children to the generation that lived it that we know a man and a woman who went to a cruise ship and got there a day early and ended up thinking they were going to sleep on the beach because they believed in that lifestyle was going on at the beach. And when they got there, they found they're going to freeze their butt off out there on that beach because there wasn't no party on the beach all night.
Ain't no part of the beach. No, no, sir. No, sir.
10, 30, 11 o'clock, it was getting kind of cold out there. I'm sure it's time to go to the hotel
They didn't
that they didn't
realize
have because
that.
they were getting on a cruise ship the next day.
Hey, they said I saw all those fires on the beach. I thought that was just for fun, roasting marshmallows. No, that's fire and Jack Daniels kept them warm all night.
Right. It was fun right up until it was hotel time.
That's right, right.
So the only other group that I've been
Absolutely.
able to think of all week, though, that has inspired a life change has been Jimmy Buffett. Really not a group, but a singer. Jimmy Buffett, same generation, though, as the Beach Boys, I believe. I think he was in the 60s. Maybe he was 70s. I'm not sure. He has
Right.
quite the following, and he's even inspired some restaurants. There's one in Branson, Missouri. I've eaten at his restaurant. And now they have these hotel chains called Margaritaville,
Yeah.
and they play like Jimmy Buffett music nonstop. And it's just like this, everybody's having a good time, party, love your neighbor, nobody's mad. I
Do
can't
you
wait to go.
not
I
think
can't wait to go to Margaritaville because they're all inclusive. That sounds pretty sweet. But
you wonder? I just think while you're talking about this, when me and you, who did not grow up in the 70s, when we think about the 60s and 70s, we think about this free love, this wonderful generation of hope and happiness and prosperity. Is this a true thought, or have we been on the outer fringes of these groups and believed this was the way it was because we're hearing the music from that time period?
I don't know, and I don't know anybody to ask. The only people I would ask have also lived in the same part of the country I would, so their answers would be would be skewed like mine because they have the same.
Because when I think about our music, I think of Slim Shady and Dre and 50 Cent and Chevelle, Nickelback, System of a Down. These are not happy bands speaking of the hope and praise of our generation.
I know. I tell my kids all the time how they just don't understand how amazing it is that the music from their high school life, that part of them, the high school years, the music is so happy, and it was not happy when I was
No,
that age. It was not.
no. I mean, it's interesting because if you think about, and I'm not trying to go deep into this, but when you think about the 1994, which I was 11 and you were a little bit older, you think about the extreme terror that was going on in Little Rock and around the country. I mean,
I hear all the time about. I have not seen the movie Straight Outta Compton.
it's a
Not
good movie.
because I have anything against that, but because I was alive during that. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't want to rewatch it because I was alive when that happened,
We
man.
saw it.
I
We
was
saw it.
glued to the TV when Easy got shot,
Yeah,
and like that, he was. I had my childhood friend and I, Ricky. We listened to that. It didn't necessarily sculpt us in the rest of our life, but man,
it
Easy, he was like
definitely.
he was one of the group.
Yeah,
He's on the radio. He just wasn't in there with us. But he was on the radio, man. When Easy got shot, man, that
right.
was, and we did,
I
man.
mean,
Get the
the
HBO
whole idea,
special.
bro, when they say take a drink for yourself and pour one for the homies, man, that's what this is about.
Yeah,
Like, this is the generation that we grew up in. We didn't grow up in, this wonderful love affair of going to the beach and having a great time. These people lived in that area and were afraid and knew that their days were numbered, knew
Yeah.
that this might be the last time, and they didn't have to look for it. As you said, man, the gang violence and trouble in this country was live on every television show.
it was live it was live across the river in Little Rock. It wasn't just on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they
What-
filmed this HBO special, gang banging in Little Rock, in that time period you're talking about. Like, they didn't have to travel to find them.
Right.
It was
It's
right there in the
literally-
street.
It's literally what got Bill Clinton as the president, because the way he handled the situation in Arkansas. I mean, I'm going deep into politics here. I don't mean to, but he took this situation, and because he was able to he was able to handle the situation in Arkansas, that is what put him on the stage for presidency.
Yeah.
And if he does not handle it, who knows what our history looks like? I mean, the main players in the parties today were sculpted because of that time period.
I won't say I can't even, with my memory, I can't even remember who was running against Bill Clinton.
No, don't make me put me there.
So far back.
But and that's my point is if Bill Clinton does not fix Arkansas, does not fix Little Rock, that person you can't remember could be the Clintons of today. I mean, I went a long way from your music industry. That's not my point. In the 60s and 70s, they dealt with Vietnam, but they dealt with it as this is the love this is the love of us and people and the hope. And our music was the reality of what's happening. And there's got to be, it's obvious that music affects your generation by your mindset the music gives you.
Yeah. And my in-laws, who's the only people I can discuss any of this with, because I don't know anybody that's that old except for them, but they don't have as happy of an idea of what the 60s and 70s must have been like. In fact, they remember them quite a bit differently. They remember the Watts riots and all the riots that happened because of Vietnam. They remember that pretty vividly.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what position they are. They're not, they're very liberal. I don't know what position they took on the war. I can only assume that they were anti-war or something. I don't know. I haven't asked them. It hasn't really come up. Mainly because it doesn't matter to me. It was in the past. It's in the past.
Right.
I'm a Vietnam baby. I have no idea if we were right or wrong. I don't know something about, but
Right.
they don't remember being very happy though. I do know that. So, yeah.
It is funny how music sculpts viewpoints, good and bad. And maybe we're going too far on this. Maybe they had maybe your 60s and 70s were smoking the good kind and they were getting those happy vibes out of it and write beautiful music with it.
Maybe. I don't know.
But it is interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting.
How committed are you? I'm just saying, like, is there anything in your life that you've committed to long term other than being married? I don't know. Did you, when you were in high school, did you just say, I'm gonna have a New Holland blue Dodge truck when I'm
No,
30?
but nice truck. And thank you, Dodge Ram. You guys need to make the next New Holland. I'm just saying.
So, and I didn't know this happened. I was alive then. When this happened, I didn't know. I don't know what I was thinking about girls at the time. In 1988, in a laboratory somewhere, a ferret, a ferret dies. I don't know if it
Okay.
was chemically induced or if it was old age. I don't have any idea. A ferret dies in 1988 in a laboratory. These scientists take this ferret and they cryogenically freeze the remains, not in hopes of reviving it. This isn't Frankenstein.
Oh,
Cryogenically freeze the remains, and then with the hopes that they were going to get to clone this ferret.
okay.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I make vacation plans a couple years out sometimes. That's probably as long term of commitment as I've ever made to anything
So
that was other than marriage. I mean, but marriage, but I've got I've got the wife. She's right out there. You know what I'm saying? Like I got her. I can hold on to her. It's not a dream.
Right.
Not now. It's not a dream. It's a reality. It's a reality. But these guys like stick this ferret in this cryogenically frozen whatever with the plan that they're going to clone this ferret.
Right. They don't
They're
have
paying,
technology to do it.
they're paying. I don't even know. I mean, there's been things cloned since '88.
Right. Right.
I don't know what held them back, other than maybe the money, maybe the technology. I don't have any idea. So they've got it. They're paying the light bill. It's taking up office space. It's in the freezer, wherever it is. I don't know.
Right.
Other than a movie, I don't even really know what cryogenically freezing means. I have no idea what that word even means. It sounds like you're just saying true serum to me, and sodium pentothal. Like that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a movie word.
Right. Right.
It's like painting 4140 on top of the buses. Well, we know that bus is in the movie scene because it says 4140 on top. So, a few months ago, they extract whatever they need to make a clone from this ferret, and in a test tube, they mix together, whatever you mix together.
Tyrannosaurus comes out.
I don't even know, but they take take the test tube baby, and they stick it in a ferret female, and she carries it to term, and it's been born, and now this cloned ferret is alive. I haven't read enough to know did they I don't know how much I don't know how much clone they did. A lot of times they say clone and they really just took out the little bit they needed to start the egg splitting, and so you really just have like a dead whatever's thing made a live one work. I don't know. I haven't read about it. But still, I'm just saying commitment level. That's where I'm at. It's the commitment level of these guys to even still be in the field this far since then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I feel like I've lost you.
Let
me start over. How committed are you?
Yeah, I get mad when projects at work take more than like a week. Like,
right. I get bored at coloring a page sometimes. Much less.
I played golf last weekend, and by hole 9, I was ready to go. Like, I'm not a. I mean, it's like the Dallas Cowboys rebuild, man. It started in 1996. Like, let's wrap this up.
Right.
So that's a good point. I don't know, man. I don't. I guess I'm not married because I don't. I mean, my 401k.
You are married, Paige. No, he's married.
No. No, I said I don't know. Very.
Very. I'm sorry.
I don't know how very committed I am to long-term things. That's definitely something I need to work on, I guess, because yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I just was just so amazed by that. I wasn't amazed by the science.
I was just talking to a kid last night, and she was like, I'm about to start college, and I don't want to be when I grow up. And I was like, I'm 37, and I don't either. Like, I don't know. So
that's a whole other topic right there, boy, man.
Well, I just mean if you're really committed to something at a young age, you know where you want to go.
I never knew, I mean, I just don't we all though when we're children, and we all just think, man, when I'm old, I'm gonna be rich.
Yeah.
Screw you poor people. I'm gonna be rich.
So just not to dive down this long path, it's crazy. But I feel like now that I'm an adult and I've met other parents that are smarter than me, a friend of mine, he wanted his daughter to be I don't remember what it was, some kind of like a very wealthy banker of some whatever.
Yeah.
So when she was like in 10th grade, he didn't just randomly enjoy her 10th grade year. that summer, starting in the 10th grade, she was required to work at a bank. His buddy does the job he wanted his daughter to do. So she started working at the bank as like a volunteer to, I don't know, man, like sweep the floors. I don't know, whatever. By the time she started her freshman year of college, she had done every single job at that branch. And as soon as she started college, then they could move her to the next level. She's not getting paid. She has not received a dime.
Right. Interning.
By the time she finished her bachelor's degree in finance, she was working with the corporate bank manager once a week just to learn. I know you're shocked to hear that when she graduated, they hired this woman because, she knew everything the bank did.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like a complete accident that she now makes lots of money working from top into this bank. No, it's not an accident at all. She's done 7 years of basically free knowledge from this bank. My point to all this is when we're 7 years old and we say, I don't know what I want to be, I just want to be rich. It is truly either because you are an amazingly smart, dedicated, and very lucky person that you reach that level, or there's a lot of commitment from people in your life who A, have to know the right people, and B, know how to get you involved with the right people.
Yeah. I mean, it's so blessed that her parents were even able to present her with that kind of life to be able to go and work as a intern.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it just doesn't happen for most of us. And, a little bit of
No.
nepotism there, I'm afraid. But
Oh, not a little bit, sir. Not a little bit. But
I don't think our society is. I don't think our society has advanced along like it should. And I
No.
think there's an awful lot of kids that don't want to do anything like their parents do. And we've kind of strayed away from even like take your kid to work day. That doesn't happen anywhere. Doesn't happen this year for sure because of the virus
Right.
situation. My kids get to see me work all the time now, the ones that are home, but it's
Right.
too late for them. They're old and boring now.
Right.
But why shouldn't you take over the family business? Why shouldn't you be involved in that? Why would you move on to something else?
Yeah.
No matter what the family business is. And some of us are going to have jobs they're going to get rich in. And some of us are going to have jobs that they just make a good living in or a living in. But you should definitely present your children with a way to be successful. And successful doesn't mean you live in $1 million house.
No.
Successful
No.
is,
I mean, successful means you pay all your bills on time and you provide enough income to pay for your family.
Well, yeah, that'd be great. And some people unfortunately can't make that level. That in our society it takes two. There's a lot more bills to pay than our parents paid. Man, you got to pay the cable bill and the cell phone bill and the
Right.
Hulu bill.
I just meant that we need to have a realistic idea of what success is before we tell children go be successful or young adults. Because unfortunately, they turn on YouTube or Facebook or family or MTV and they see people living well above what any normal person could live at. Yeah. And they say that's a success.
I just recently I seen one of the houses that was on Cribs years ago, an MTV show Cribs. The house must have been built mainly for the show. It's pretty much been empty ever since the time frame. That was built. It was only lived in for just a couple of years. And here, this person, whoever owns it now, whatever the bank is or mortgage holder, whoever it is, they have this enormous, excessive house that no one can even afford to keep the light bill paid, much less pay the bill. I mean, I'm sure they would just be happy if you paid the interest. You know what I'm saying? Like they've had this house so long, nobody will buy it. It's in disrepair now because it just sits there. It's just rotting away.
Right.
And nobody can afford to pay the light bill. It's it's just too big. It was excess. And that's those TV shows, Jersey Shore, and Family Reunion and all that. They show this crazy life of it. Even Seinfeld, just brought this up a moment ago. He lives in he's a comedian that works occasionally at a stand-up club, making, a couple $100 a gig. And he lives in like this $2.5 million flat in New York City. I'm saying like, it's not even possible.
Friends,
you can't, huh?
Friends, anybody?
Yeah, Friends too. Yeah. They show this it's a TV show. Unfortunately, our children don't see the real struggle. They see the live the dream on TV and
from someone who just left that area, those apartments are $3,000 to $4,000 a month. They ain't making $3,000 a month waiting as a dang waitress in a coffee bar. That's not the truth. The problem is that we were the same way. When kids hear their parents speak, they think that they're old, washed up, don't know what they're talking about. And I saw a statement from a wise person today. It said, "By the time I realized my parents were right, I was a parent." And there's so much truth to that, because it's like, I trust you, mom and dad, when I'm 5, when I'm 7, when I'm 10, when I'm 12. Oh, I'm 14 now. You must be stupid. I still trust you with everything, just not with
Well,
how you got there.
so we fell down this rabbit hole.
We did. Sorry about that, viewers.
I heard a guy this week. Rich people always read books constantly.
Always.
Rich, successful people that made money, that actually made their money, not silver spoon babies, but
Right.
successful rich people read constantly. I should read more. I'm broke though. I was watching or listening to a guy this week who said that he's going to be a parent. He wasn't 18 or 17 like I was. He's going to be a parent. And his wife's pregnant, God gave us 9 months to think about this. So you have plenty of time to think about and prepare. I didn't prepare. I didn't think. I was just trying to figure out how I was going to pay for diapers because
Sure.
I made $7.25 an hour when I was 17.
What was that, 1931?
Pretty close. Pretty much, yeah. Pretty close. And I was a mechanic too, and so I had to buy my own tools. So $75 every other week of that was going to the tool man, and I made $7.25 an hour. But this man says he's thinking about being a parent and a child, and he's got some success in his life, and he's thinking about all the things, all the feared things that parents have. And so, baby's born. She's a week old. He takes her outside, out back behind the house, and he dunks her in a swimming pool. Doesn't let go of her. I mean, it's like not dangerous or anything. Puts her in a swimming pool. He does this 2 or 3 times a week, every week, until she can swim. Now she swims better than anybody else. He says, "Look, I bought the swimming pool. I had to put it behind the house because I want a swimming pool I can look out the back window and see it. I didn't want to build a fence. You know why I don't have to build a fence? My daughter can swim. I don't have to worry about her going outside drowning in the pool. You know why? Because she can freaking swim." Says, take charge of your life. Every aspect of your life you have to take charge of. And I thought, man, that is just that's so on point. And I've spent most of my life not taking charge of things like teach my kids how to swim. My kids can swim. They went, they were part of their upbringing. They were in a daycare situation. They went with their mom. Thankfully, they would go with her, and they went swimming 5 days a week, 2.5 months out of every summer. They were in a swimming pool. They can all swim better than I can. But
So it's funny you were talking about that. Last night I went to a party. This young woman turned 15. Great day. She's in the Latin culture, so most of you know like what an important day that is for her life. Her mother was telling us that when she was in 4th grade, she started getting bullied, and they went to the principal. Nothing happened. They went to the other parents. Nothing happened. And finally, the dad took her outside, tossed her a pair of boxing gloves, and proceeded to teach her how to fight. His dad is not a great fighter, so after a few lessons in which he realized that he was not making her any better, they signed her up for kickboxing.
yeah,
About a month later, an incident happened where the old girl had enough of being bullied, and she beat the snot out of the bullier. Now, I met this girl. She weighs about 80 pounds, soaking wet right now at 15. I can't believe how small she was when she was 4th grade. I guess that's 10. But he did exactly what you said. He took charge. The dad took charge of the situation. We've done everything we're supposed to do. We told the proper authorities. We told the parents. We did everything society says you're supposed to fix it. And then he said, fine, you don't want to play nice. We're not going to play nice anymore.
So I'm sure you've heard it. It snowed in the United States from coast to coast pretty much this last week.
A centimeter or something, right? Like not very much.
Well, it's amazing because we're in the northern corner of the state, which normally it gets weather a lot, but not. I mean, a lot compared to Central Arkansas where we grew up. But we got. I mean, I had a good standing 6 inches of snow at its maximum. I'd say I had a good solid 6 inches. It may have been deeper in some places than others, but in Central Arkansas, man, they got a foot. And like outside of Russellville, they were measuring 16 inches. It's incredible.
This is a good time to tell people in Texas, hey, look, we're praying for you guys. I hope everything's better. It's going to warm up. Not that heat's going to help. It's been a terrible time.
Man, there were places in Texas that got 36 inches of snow.
The saddest part, I don't know if you heard about it, but apparently people in Texas, they didn't know that if you sit in your garage with your automobile on, just sleep in your automobile.
Oh man, that was so sad, dude.
I mean, it's just a terrible situation right now.
That's so sad.
I saw on the news this morning that they're going house to house, knocking on doors to see if somebody's home, and then checking the garages. And it's a horrible situation. Uh, the craziest part is here. I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and for the first time in 5 years, we had snow. Not much. They detected a flurry. That is the most we've had in 5 years. We actually got down to 31 degrees. It's the first time in like 10 years we've ever gotten this cold. And what a unique weather pattern. And I say unique because nothing really happened here. And what a tragic weather pattern for those in the South.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It was this man. It was in Mississippi and Louisiana also. They just horrible. And there's nothing that, like, I can't do anything from here. Sending money wouldn't do any good because there's no way to get when you sent the money, they received it. There's nothing to buy. There's for days, for over a week, trucks weren't able to move in some parts of these states. They were just parked on the freeway, nowhere to go, nowhere to take it.
One of the saddest things I heard are the water level that Texas has gone down by a third the amount of water they expect, because when they said that when people who recently moved into Texas got there, they didn't realize that the piping in apartment buildings could not freeze. So all these people in their apartments turned on their water to make sure the pipes would freeze, and they drained out a third of the water in Texas.
So the area between Fayetteville and I-40, the countryside, they've had to send notices out because people were doing that. Everybody's dripping the faucets, and in Arkansas, the freeze line is like 23 inches deep or something. You really, if you have electricity, if you have heat on in your house,
good.
You really don't have to run a faucet. Oh, look, hey man, it got 11 below. Like we broke at Fayetteville, at the airport in Fayetteville, they recorded -20.
What?
It was -11 outside when I woke up without power, and I don't even want to. I hate to mention that because we were only without power for just briefly, just a few hours. It was.
Page said they had rolling brownouts in Central Arkansas because they were afraid they're going to run out of electricity.
Yeah, whatever that means. But I mean, I heard the same thing, but I'm just like,
they shut off everybody's power.
Maybe maybe my heater was running a little bit more. How many electric heaters did they have plugged in? Why weren't they prepared for this? We knew for 2 weeks this was coming. There had to have been a generator. The power company didn't have turned on. Now Entergy's saying that it wasn't a power production problem. It was whoever owns the grid, whoever that is. Like there's too much finger pointing going on. You intentionally turned off people's power when you had options that we pay for all the time. We pay a premium, and you'll come turn our power off if we don't pay it. Like you own us. You know what I'm saying? Like this is as close to endearment. We collectively pay an astronomical amount of money. This is not okay. I mean, and in Texas, I don't know who's going to go to jail, but somebody's going to jail, and they need to go to jail, and it needs to be public.
They didn't call people and say, "Hey, Mr. Gibson, at 11 o'clock, we're going to turn your power off just for an hour."
Yeah, they didn't do that.
They just put the power off.
Just turn it off.
People ran to try to find hotel rooms. Only for an hour later, power came back on.
Yeah.
They created a national fear, a national panic when they didn't have to.
Yep.
They could have just simply said, if you were going to mess with people's lives, this isn't we broadcasted on the radio. No, F you. If you're not going to call me and say, hey, I understand you're paying 35, 40% more than you should for this, but by the way, we're not also going to turn your heat off, because people would have probably, I don't know.
We got a notice and it said, turn your thermostat down 2 degrees. We got it a couple days before our power was out. I don't know if ours was out because of a brownout. I don't know. It's not like they didn't send me a breakdown, about why my power was out, but we turned ours down because, hey man, when it's 11 degrees outside, the fact that it's 68 in my house or 70, it didn't matter.
So they turned the power off.
Also, my heater didn't run not 1 minute less because it was 68 versus 70. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that was silly.
So they didn't tell Paige's great-grandparents they were turning off their power, but they just turned off their power for an hour. So as the entire family is trying to figure out how they're going to go get these people, thinking that they have lost power. Like multiple people were thinking about driving through ice-covered streets.
The horrible weather conditions. Yes, absolutely the worst weather conditions to drive.
Yeah. Like, it's unbelievable the amount of just stupidity that happened during this thing. I mean,
So
it scares me to think of those old people trying to get on the road and driving themselves.
and you know they were.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's just, man, what a horrible situation. Yeah.
You just
So it's changing topics.
I mean, I mean, not even a change of topic. I mean, this is it. This is where we're at. I mean, this is the right topic to be on. So the unlikely hero of this though was, and it didn't solve everybody's problem. I don't mean that. A surprisingly just out of the blue, the unsung, unsurprising. I guess it is sung now. The unsurprising or very surprising, unlikely. The unlikely hero was Ford's brand new F-150 hybrid pickup truck
Yeah.
with the 7.2K generator built into the truck. There's not a lot of them have been sold yet. There were 415 that hadn't been sold that were in the state of Florida. I mean, I'm sorry, there's 415 in the state of Texas that Ford Motor Company called or emailed or something to dealers and said, "Hey, get them off your lot, get them to somebody's house so they can plug them up." And they told the dealers that they're going to pay the incentive for them to be used. They're going to pay the incentive so that when they sell them, they'll sell like they've been.
Never been used.
I can't remember the word. No, like they have loaner vehicles like for the shop.
Right.
So Ford Motor Company is going to make up the difference plus some, so the dealer can still sell and make a profit off the trucks after they get used. So they called these dealers and said, "Get these trucks off your lot, get them to our customers' houses so they can plug up their power." Some people were reporting they were running extension cords to like 4 houses off of these trucks. Now they weren't running a big heater, but they had like they could like put them a heater in a room, like a space heater and a light or something.
Right.
And
hey, Ford, if you're listening, call my wife. I will trade my truck into you right now for one of those vehicles. But I want it documented. My truck saved people's lives. Damn, let's make this pitch. This is a life-saving device.
This isn't even advertising Ford wants. Ford knows it. I mean, now they're going to sell. I want one.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an amazing truck, but mine produces power, but it doesn't produce 7.2K.
Whoa! Last year I'm in Iraq. My wife is home by herself, and we lost power for 5 effing days because the location, the housing we lived in, they allowed a tree limb to knock one wire down and knock out power to the entire neighborhood. That's 480 families.
Oh my god!
And it took 7 days to fix that one thing. If I'd had that truck, man, Paige would have started the key. Good to go.
I'm not prepared. I hate to admit it. I don't know if any of my friends actually watch our videos, but I don't own a generator.
No, mistake.
43 years old, and I've never owned a generator. It's pretty embarrassing. But the dang things, you got to maintain them.
Yeah.
And if I'd bought one in my 20s, you know how many times I'd have needed it since I was 20?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the truck is necessarily a better investment. So I looked it up. So the pickup puts out 7.2 kilowatts.
Okay.
A 7,000 kilowatt generator will cost you about $1,000. And I'm not talking about buying a Honda. So don't be commenting on here like a Honda generator is like 4,000. I know that. You can buy a 7K generator for $1,000. They're plus and minus that.
Sure.
You also got to have gas to put in that thing. A pickup truck holds like 20 gallons from the factory.
That's right.
Okay, so this video is not sponsored by Ford.
Okay. But we can be.
We could be Ford. So the pickup truck with the hybrid motor, which is a 3.6 liter gasoline engine, and then it has like an electric motor and then the transmission. So whenever you're driving it, if the engine's running, it's just like driving any other pickup truck. It's got gasoline engine power to the wheels. It's not like a Tesla car. It doesn't have like electric motors on each wheel. It's the same powertrain. So the guy down the street, he can work on everything except that electric motor. He can he can change U joints.
What does the hybrid do?
The hybrid, because it has a battery. So hybrid means that you have, when you're talking about vehicles, a hybrid vehicle would have a gas engine, which would act like a generator that turns a generator, the motor, because a motor can act like a motor and a generator. A motor means it's producing power. A generator means it's producing electricity.
So the motor just acts as the alternator to keep the battery for your hybrid running.
It is acting like an alternator when it's charging the battery, but whenever you need a little bit more power, then the gas motor would actually power the vehicle.
But so
or it's just charging the electric you know, it's just charging the battery using the electric motor, or the electric motor could power the truck. It could drive it around, and the gas motor not even be on. Like the electric motor can run off the battery and power the truck. It's an electric. It's a hybrid. It's an electric vehicle. It can drive around silently, just like a Tesla car, because it is.
Oh, hey, by the way, if you have a vehicle you're thinking about buying, Ted and I would love to review that vehicle for you, let you know what you're thinking about. I didn't even think about that until right now. I've gained more knowledge about this vehicle than when I watched the video on this vehicle.
Look, I ain't sold this truck to you yet, and I'm fixing to sell it.
I'm ready.
We're down
Tell
to the
me
brass
more.
tacks. Okay, so all right, so almost I got two more big deals here. You can get this. It has to be a double. It has to be like a crew cab. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be the
Oh,
double
yeah.
cab. No
Absolutely.
regular cab, no half cabs. It's got to be the big
Gotta
double
have
cab.
that big one.
That's the kind of the thing. That's all I
Yeah.
want anyway. I don't want a little cab.
Right. As John says, I'm making up for something. I've gotta have that big truck.
If I'm going to spend that much on the vehicle, I want to have. It's only like $400 or $500 difference between. But so anyway, you have to have the big cab. But it does.
Big truck.
You can get this hybrid in the XT trim. You can get an XT $43,000.
Okay.
That's
That's
you know
cheap.
that's less than I paid for my used pickup
Less than I
outside.
paid for my truck. Yeah.
$43,000. You could buy
Yeah.
you could buy one if it was for sale in your area.
Right.
All right, here comes the sales pitch. Regular pickup has an 18-gallon tank.
Okay.
With the 18-gallon tank, it has the ability to go 500 miles on a tank of fuel.
500 miles. I'm taking notes. 500 miles and 18 gallons.
On 18 gallons because it's a
Yeah, I'm
hybrid.
making
So you're not just running on the gas motor all the time.
Okay.
Some of that time is electric motor. You can go 500 miles on a tank of gas, 18 gallons of gas.
It's 11. It's 11 miles per gallon. Oh, it's 200.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I can't do math. I'm sorry. So 2 is 36. 46. No, 2. All right. 36. Trying to do math, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not good at it.
I hate that.
14.
You can also
0.
get this with a 36-gallon tank. All right, man, we got to wrap this baby up because we're like an hour. Oh Lord, hour and a half in. Hope an
Yeah.
hour of this makes it to Brent.
I was gonna say Ted's gonna jump this down to 40 minutes.
Watch for our book review, Stormfront,
Watch the book
by
reviews. It's coming.
Jim Butcher, read by James Marsters.
Yes.
Coming up
Great,
soon.
great reader. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, he is fantastic. And we didn't even mention him earlier. We were all like giving Steve Brick props, but James Marsters is fantastic.
That's right. Scott Brick is the man, but James Marsh is right there in second place. Can't wait. It's gonna be fun. I don't have a joke this week. Sorry, guys.
This just ended, man.
Down on this one.
Peace. I don't know.
All right, I changed my mind. I've got a joke. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
So, last week, Ted and I are out walking in the woods, and a hawk landed on Ted's head. Without missing the beat, I looked over and said, "Man, is that a mohawk?" And Ted said, "No, but it's definitely Hawkward."
Oh.
Okay, so here's the deal, guys. Pay attention. If we get 50 people subscribed, I'll bick the head.
What?
Straight shave action.
Big, like shave it
And
off. Gone.
I will videotape the pain of it.
Will you be shaving or are you gonna hire this done?
I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. Depends on we get 50 subscribers. If we
50
get
subscribers.
100 subscribers, I'll do it without shaving cream. It's gonna hurt, guys. It's gonna hurt a lot.
We better stop now. John's gonna want you to shave something else.
It's gonna take a lot of subscribers, guys. Take a lot of subscribers.
50 subscribers. He's shaving the
Yeah.
head. Bick the head.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. About this time, Ted's gonna end us with like some bloopers or maybe just the credits. I don't know.
Credits.
I'm gonna reach out to the lighting guy. You did a great job, lighting guy. I'm super proud of you. Excellent job. Couldn't have done it without you, fella.